Deep in the misty jungles of the India-Myanmar border, an elite Indian military patrol suddenly went silent. A swarm of tiny, unlit drones emerged from the canopy, moving with an eerie mechanical synchronization that defied standard insurgent tactics. These machines never fired a shot. Instead, they acted like sheepdogs, anticipating every move the soldiers made and herding the unit into kill zones by simply being everywhere at once. The patrol's technological edge vanished instantly. Despite high-grade jammers, their GPS signals blinked out, radios dissolved into static, and helmet cameras went dark. A highly trained unit was rendered completely blind in seconds. This wasn't an ambush meant for assassination. The precision of the herding and the total electronic blackout suggested a live-fire training exercise, orchestrated by a mastermind known only as the Instructor. The incident sent a shockwave through the intelligence community at South Block in New Delhi. They realized that an invisible threat had successfully infiltrated the border, and their standard digital surveillance had seen nothing. To counter an enemy that could hack any screen, the government called in Arjun Sen. Arjun operated off the grid, stripping away digital reliance in favor of topographic maps, mechanical tools, and a focus on human behavior. Modern warfare relies on digital omniscience, but when an enemy can predict and blind that technology, the only remaining defense is a mind that doesn't leave a data trail. Arjun ignored the corrupted digital logs and focused on physical evidence the enemy couldn't erase. He analyzed microscopic tool marks on drone fragments and reports of 3-note whistle signals used to coordinate the swarm. This level of preparation suggested a long-game strategy. Before the Instructor arrived to train the locals, another operative, the Cartographer, had already spent months reshaping the terrain itself.
To find him, Arjun layered no-tearing roads with anthropological data, tracking ancient migration routes invisible to satellites. Civilian infrastructure, like solar projects and suspension bridges, filled the gaps, creating a continuous, hidden supply line for an insurgency. This signage represents the surface reality, but investigation proved that official infrastructure had been subverted to act as a front for these hidden conflict corridors. Arjun followed these corridors into Zero Valley, a remote region offering a total satellite blind spot. His team moved in absolute radio silence, relying on analog navigation to avoid detection. In a clearing that looked entirely untouched, they discovered a camouflaged hatch hidden beneath the grass, leading to an underground bunker. The bunker was hollowed out, no servers, no weapons caches. The only thing left behind was a wooden chessboard missing a single piece, the Black Knight. As the team moved to secure the room, a hidden timer hit 0 and the entrance tunnel collapsed. The explosion was precise, burying the evidence without harming Arjun or his men. By leaving them alive with the board, the Instructor signaled that the Valley investigation was over and a larger game had begun. Arjun scrutinized the chessboard under a specialized light. On the dark squares, he found faint UV-inked markings, a series of global coordinates that the Instructor had used to map his career. The first square led back to the immediate operational theater in Sagaing, where the Instructor had first refined his drone tactics. The next coordinate pointed to the urban density of Erbil, showing the network's reach into the Middle East. The markings also identified Misrata, a city defined by years of fractured, irregular warfare. Finally, the board pointed to Constanza, a major shipping hub that served as the logistical anchor for the entire operation. These 4 coordinates revealed a network spanning from jungle insurgencies to major global ports. The Instructor had spent years positioning himself across these conflict zones, serving as the hidden architect of a global shadow war. Arjun realized he couldn't win by chasing the Instructor's past. He needed a way to force the enemy into the light. He launched Operation False Echo, a plan to stop hunting and start baiting. The military leaked intel about a top-secret project being moved from a laboratory. They launched a highly visible, heavily guarded convoy, knowing the Instructor's network would be watching every mile of the journey. The goal was to create a false target.
If they couldn't find the shadow in the dark, they would create a fake light to see where the shadow reacted. High in the mountains, Arjun ordered the convoy to a sudden halt. He had spotted a minute disturbance by the roadside that didn't fit the natural environment. He found a tiny X carved into a milestone and a pair of binoculars left behind on a rock. Underneath the binoculars sat a single piece of paper. It was a hand-drawn sketch of the very convoy Arjun was leading. But the sketch was an impossible capture of the current moment. The artist drew 4 trucks, even though only 3 were on the mountain road. The 4th truck existed only at the start of the mission, inside the high-security loading yard in Delhi. The sketch was proof that the Instructor's people hadn't just found the convoy in the mountains. They had been inside the secure perimeter before the trucks ever left the city. As a final message, Lesson Complete intercepted their radio frequency. The reality of the situation set in. The entire operation, the trap, and the convoy had served as a final exam. Arjun Sen wasn't finishing a mission. He was just beginning a war that would be fought entirely within the human mind.